favorite video game soundtrack.
Halo Combat Evolved.
Okay. Super Mario 2, Super Mario 3, Super Mario World.
Isn't it amazing how you hear that and you just go, boom, you get transported back to being a kid.
And you know, those cartridges had like not gigabytes, not megabytes, but kilobytes of memory.
What would each of you say is your single favorite video game soundtrack of all time?
Sonic, and it's not even close.
Oof.
Halo Combat Evolved.
Okay.
Which one?
It's not even. It's
Say again.
Sonic.
Sonic?
Yeah. Sonic 2 or Sonic 1?
Sonic 2. Probably
Sonic 2.
Sonic 2,
Yeah, absolutely.
I gotta say, probably the most influential soundtrack for me it's Chrono Trigger. But if I'm gonna say the single song that a video game song that I listen the most, it's probably the Skyrim theme.
Okay. Yeah.
Are we going original soundtrack?
Yeah.
Super Mario Galaxy or Halo CE is it for me?
I
Yeah,
was gonna
Galaxy.
say Galaxy. I was gonna say,
Yeah,
I
it's
was
just-
gonna say Galaxy.
Arkham City's pretty good too.
If it's not one of the Zelda games, which I can debate, any one of those, Halo 3. Halo 3 is just
Halo 3
Yeah,
is
incredible.
yeah, yeah. I would
Peak
say
Mario
like,
model.
Chrono Trigger is unquestionable that it's up
Yeah.
there. No matter what. Like Chrono Trigger is up there for any discussion. It's legendary.
Its only competition is Chrono Cross, which is
Yes.
pretty insane too.
It is, man. But Galaxy is probably going to be mine. And of course, dude, I love Super Mario 2 soundtrack, and I know most people overlook Super Mario Brothers 2. I love Super Mario 2, Super Mario 3, Super Mario World. Then you get into things like obviously the Zelda games. Like, what is the best Zelda soundtrack?
Link to the Past.
Oh, dude, it's hard. It's Link to the Past, but even some ones like, dude, Skyward Sword is so good. Like the soundtrack, I get people hate on the mechanics and stuff, but that soundtrack is incredible.
I actually really
I
love
don't know.
Twilight. Twilight Princess is so like ominous at times. I love
I
it.
can't pick a favorite. It's like picking
Wind
a favorite
Waker's
child.
fantastic too.
Yes.
Mhm.
They're all
They're all
so
good,
God
man.
of War.
Yeah.
I actually
God
got
of War is
going
Red
Red
Dead
Yeah,
absolutely.
I gotta go with Red Dead Redemption for mine. That was
Okay.
I actually listen to that soundtrack
Red Dead,
a lot.
yeah.
The
I
first
was
Red Dead,
listening
Trigonometry is like one of my favorite songs to listen to.
I always listen to Dire Dire Docks on Super Mario.
Oh my
64.
gosh, Dire
So
Dire
good.
Docks.
You know, a soundtrack's good though when you can just like listen to the main menu music on loop over and over again. Just like Super Mario 64, just na 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 na. I could just let that play forever. Like,
Yeah.
makes me
Yeah.
so happy.
That's definitely
I hear you all.
Skyrim for Dan's point.
I hear you all, but
do it,
I
Dan.
think objectively, the most loved video game song of all time is the Mario theme. So
Yeah,
like
that's very
you
true.
can show it to your grandma and she's gonna say, "Oh, Mario."
Yeah.
Me and my grandma.
For me, and I actually have one song. The song for me that puts Link to the Past over all of them is a song you hear once in the entire game, and it's so perfect for the scenery. But it's the forest theme in
Right.
Link to the Past when you're right before you're about to get the Master Sword. And
Yeah.
it's brilliant. It's just like
Oh,
this
yeah, that's
whimsical.
good.
Isn't it amazing how you hear that and you just go, boom, you get transported back to being a kid.
Yeah.
Mass Effect had a underrated soundtrack too. Yes.
Yeah, it really did. And the ending credits was awesome by Fonts, and for part 2 by Fonts was actually really
There's
awesome.
so much good stuff out there. As a matter of fact, today I retweeted Smooth McGroove because he's
He's back, man.
yeah, this dude's fantastic. I know everybody here should know who Smooth McGroove
Oh,
is,
yeah.
but oh my god, it's so good.
Yes.
Got to start on Screw Attack back in the day.
Did he? Oh my god, I could listen to this. Like, I just want to stop the
Quarters
show.
of Time is
I just
amazing.
want to stop the show and listen to the Chrono Trigger soundtrack,
Yeah,
dude.
I
Did he
Yep.
get his start on Screw Attack as well?
He did. Yeah, he's a community
Wow.
member. We got promoted through the community system and made his way up. And now he's a stud, man. Been a stud for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an
Great,
OG.
man.
Great job.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
an OG.
Let me get into it. Here we go. Excellent stuff. That might be like Corridors of Time might be the best,
Yes.
like the best individual soundtrack ever made in
I'm
video.
with Frog's theme.
Frog's
Man.
theme is great too.
Yeah.
I think the fact that you've got guys in like the 16-bit era and the 8-bit era that were able to produce what are basically considered magnum opuses at this time just shows you the talent that they had, because they had so little to work with. And you know, those cartridges had like not gigabytes, not megabytes, but kilobytes of memory. It just tells you the genius, the musical genius that these guys had at the time.
Super Metroid was so good. The soundtrack for that was so good that they used it in Metroid over and over again for 2 decades before they were finally like, maybe we should try a different soundtrack in Metroid. Right. But until then, it was like Brinstar Depths, you know, over and over again for Lava Land.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Well,
that soundtrack's incredible.
If anything, because you know how much I love Metroid Dread, but I would say that's the weakness of that game is the soundtrack overall.
100%.
Compared to all the other Metroid games.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they missed out on that, because that's the one weak point in that game. Metroid Dread's one of my favorite games of all time, and it's my favorite Metroid game, but it does bother me that the soundtrack is not on point.
I think it's called like Cretaria or something like that. It's like the lava area in that one. That one has a beat to it. I put that on the back of like 75% of my Metroid videos. That one's pretty good.
I will say that I cannot have a conversation about video game soundtracks and not mention Gusty Garden Galaxy from Super Mario Galaxy, because that is the standard. And Nintendo has reused that more times than I can count. They intertwine that song into so many things. They've intertwined it into Super Mario Mario Kart 8. Gusty Garden Galaxy will be something that Nintendo probably leans on forever because people love it so much.
They use it in the credits of the Mario movie as well.
Yep. They
Fossil
did about as good as
Falls
they could have done. Yeah.
So good.
It's awesome.
Fossil Falls is so good from Odyssey. But yes, that's a good discussion. Good job, Xanaximus.
Hold on.
Got something.
I got more. Hold on.
Okay.
Here we go.
Most underrated soundtrack thrown out there is a game. It's a Zelda clone, but brilliant on the PlayStation 3. 3D Game Heroes. If you guys haven't played that game,
I've not played that.
Spectacular. Listen to that soundtrack. You will fall in love with it.
Okay.
Those who know. Those
All right.
who know.
I respect that.
Also, I saw something in the chat, and I do agree. The Final Fantasy VI, the opera scene, that was pretty dope. Yeah, that song was amazing back in the day, especially for being an SNES, or when you played it if you played it on Game Boy or any of those. Like, dude, that game was something else.
I'm seeing the chat. Just people are just talking. Like, so many soundtracks right now. It's insane.
What about Pokemon? The Pokemon sound, like the OG, like Gen 1.
The bicycle theme was pretty awesome. Turtles in Time. Turtles in Time. Turtles in Time, baby.
Yes,
Hell yeah.
We're going to talk about underrated. I'll talk about, and this might be an underrated game as well. I played the hell out of it when I was a kid. But soundtrack-wise, Wizards and Warriors on the NES.
Really?
Incredibly underrated soundtrack that people do not talk about. Now, the game itself, I would say, it would be classified as underrated too. I don't think people talk about Wizards and Warriors a lot.
I'll give you another underrated one, and you got to play this NES game because it's so good. It's called Guardian Legend. The soundtrack's so good. It's like this Zelda overworld, but then there's also this like Star Fox overhead Gradius like kind of.
If we're gonna go down this path, we have to go. I mean, the Tetris theme. Dun, 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 dun.
Isn't that a folk Russian song?
Yeah.
Question for the chat. Which Tetris theme is it? Were you an A, B, or C guy? And I'm talking about on the NES because a lot of people they played Tetris on the Game Boy.
Yeah, that was my first time playing on the Game Boy. Colorless Game Boy, that fat ass fucking thing, man.
Oh yeah, bro.
Right.
Jeremy, I got one for you to look up, and a lot of NES players are gonna freak out when they hear this because they're gonna be like, "Oh God, I remember this." Ninja Gaiden, Unbreakable Determination.
I can't move forward with him talking and saying Ninja Gaiden. That's not.
That's how it's appropriately pronounced.
It is Gaiden.
Yeah,
I always said
That's the correct way.
Listen,
I
I
said
always
Ninja
said Ninja
Gaiden too,
Gaiden. I
and
said
then I
used to
realized
say
it's-
I used to say Ninja Gaiden and
Ninja Gaiden. I don't give a fuck.
I say Ninja Gaiden.
Geneva.
Ninja Gaiden.
It's Gaiden, guys.
So long, gay boy.
How could I forget?
It's
the
Geneva.
emotional theme from Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. Dun, 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 dun.
Don't start singing, Dan. We all know you can do it. Okay.
there's a Sonic song that I can't.
All the bro, I'm taking over everything
Sonic-
y'all now.
Green
I'm
Zone
taking
2?
Sonic 2 over all of that
Listen,
shit.
listen,
Like if you just sit
Which
there
song?
and take it isolated, take every jam on every fucking level, that shit's
Okay.
a goddamn
That's good.
banger, bro.
dude, I want to
Oh,
play
good.
this whole fucking thing right now.
That sounds so hunky dory. Are you kidding me?
Oh no, bro.
Dude, I want to.
I like Green Hill Zone. Green Hill Zone's my favorite.
All
but-
that shit's fucking.
I want to see
Green
Ripper
Hill's on
cruising
the-
around
yeah.
town listening to Sky Chase song popping his head.
jam, bro.
So Ripper was a Genesis kid, huh?
Yeah, I would. That was my first console.
The
Right.
chemical
There
plant
you
zone.
go.
That's where it's at,
Dude,
man.
chemical plant zone. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Well, Zanaxmus, you got your money's worth on that one, buddy. So that was a good, good topic right there. We appreciate that.
Oh my god. That's. I don't even know what to say.